Dana, you mentioned working with a sports psychologist. I'd love to talk with you for a few minutes about that, because I feel like this is such an important and powerful and impactful way to improve your running. But a lot of people don't really go down that sports psych rabbit hole. Can you talk about, besides that one story about getting your head on straight before practice and leaving any negative emotions in your car before you head in for the team, you know, how has working with a sports psychologist helped your mindset around running? And is this something that you just started doing recently, or how long have you been working with a sports psych?
Yeah. So first, I want to mention that it's definitely a privilege to be able to have that relationship, and I know sports psychology is not that accessible right now, and I hope that that changes in the future. I was really fortunate to connect with Tim Bailey, who he's the husband of Priscilla Bailey, who's a coach at Cal Poly, and we were at a training camp. We got reconnected because both of them used to be out of Harvard when I was competing. So we've really known of each other and kind of been in the same circle for a long time. But when I was at this training camp, I had a little injury and we just kind of we connected then, and I was having a huge issue where I think one of my main strengths as a collegiate runner was being fearless and, fully confident, running for the gun, knowing I could win. Maybe it was kind of blinders on again, but like that's the style that I like to run. I like to front run, and I think I lost a lot of that confidence when I got hurt as a pro. As you said, it's high stakes. And I was in these races, and I was in a 4 minute ish race for the 1500, and my mind was thinking about literally anything else. I was thinking about like what my next meal was going to be. Like my mind was so not in the race. It was scary. And I had never had that. And it was like kind of the opposite of, I've had a fair amount of those flow experiences. Like the chick send me high, like you're fully present. And I think that's how I raced a lot in college, was I was able to tap into that as a product of being very comfortable and supported in my environment. And then I pretty much had the opposite experience when I was racing my first season as a pro, where I do not know where my head was. It was somewhere else. And we kind of worked for a long time on that. Just, it didn't end up going well that season, but I think that this race this past December was kind of a accumulation of a whole year and a half worth of work of, you know, here are the mantras that you use, here are the positive affirmations, here's how you connect during the race, here's how you segment a race into different parts. So there's just so many strategies that I fully use. And here's like a small example, but one of my like affirmations for myself is kind of, I'm strong and powerful and in full control. And if there's ever like any really hard workout where I'm like, can I do this, can I not, I always come back to just those words because I've worked on being able to use them. So these are all strategies that you don't necessarily need a sports psychologist to help you with. They're out there, they're in the world, like you can explore them. But I would say it's helpful, just to have another person in your corner if it's available.
Yeah, and I think it's just fascinating to me how important mindset is to your mental relationship with the sport. So, you're talking about how you felt supported in college and you were really confident. You went after it in races, you led from the gun, you were it seems like an aggressive, confident racer. And it's interesting how one injury could really mess up your mental relationship with racing and the sport like that. And in a sport like running, where it's not like other sports where you're trying to not be uncomfortable. You could be a good
Mhm.
soccer player without being uncomfortable, but in distance running, the more you can tolerate, the more you can actually pile on top of yourself in a race and endure that, the better you're going to be. And the mindset that you have about racing, about being fully engaged, is just so critical. And I'm glad to see that you're starting to get back to your roots as a college runner and be more aggressive, because I just think that's the only way to race. Being confident, executing on your strategy, and just having that good positive relationship to racing, because it's hard. You could sit there and have every negative reaction to a race before the gun even starts.
Oh yeah, they say it all the time. Like you lose before you get to the starting line, half the time, and that's totally true. You see it where with a lot of races where you hear someone's in the race, like that they're an Olympian or they've, but you have no idea where people are coming from, where they're at in their training, what their goal is in the race. So you key yourself off of someone else and you have a horrible day because you weren't running your race, you're running their race. And I've seen that time and time and again. And that's something that's a hard lesson to learn. But I think that for where I lost the confidence was I was super lucky where, you know, every season you get better. And that happened from me from when I picked up running in the 9th grade till my senior year of college. You PR every season, you just get better. And I think that was a little foolish and I was lucky in that way. I was like, this is just how it goes, like you work hard, input, output, right? But when the inputs were off, it was just like, I'm putting so much into this and I'm getting nothing out. Like that's when it fully was like identity crisis of where's my head at?
Yeah. Oh, isn't that such a drug for runners? The improvement, the PR, the season after season of getting better, and just, oh my God, you're explaining it, and I'm just getting flashbacks to my high school and college days of exactly that, just all kinds of improvement. And I think that's important when you first start running. It hooks you on the sport, and I think it gives you more longevity in the sport as well, because you're just having so much fun and you're so excited by the progress that you're making.